This is Rebecca Jasmine, and this is my board on Google Lit Trips. I decided to do it in Pinterest because this board was actually designed for a training that I'm going to be delivering in November to the Virginia Education Association's Instructional and Professional Development Conference on Google Lit Trips. It's a 45-minute session on what is a Google Lit Trip and how to use Google Earth to connect literature with geography. And I decided that having a board with virtual resources for the participants would be a very good idea instead of giving them a handout. And seeing I'm going to be introducing Google Earth, which is new to a lot of teachers, I didn't want to introduce too many new things at once and thought that Pinterest was fairly familiar to most educators, so I would give them something new with Google Earth and something familiar with Pinterest. So here's my Pinterest board that I created, and it's got several pins with resources. A couple, this one and this one, are cheat sheets on how to do the pinning of the places, annotate the pins. There are some video tutorials here and here, part 1 and 2 on YouTube, for them to go back through and refresh themselves on how to do it. Because I don't know about you, but when I go to a workshop, I get really excited about something new, get back to my classroom, and I've forgotten how to do it, or I've forgotten some of the tricks in there. So I thought I'd include some video tutorials. This right here, this book, Book Mapping, Lit Trips and Beyond, is written for Google Lit Trips. It connects them to the AASL Standards for the 21st Century Learner, as well as giving a lot of how-tos. It's a book that I have and read and I'm going to share with the participants in the group, and wanting to give them a link to the Amazon store where they can get the book if they were interested in. And as you noticed, it's published by ISTE, which is, or ISTE, which is the Technology Educator Association. This pin right here is a place where you can get already made Google Lit Trips, where all you have to do is put in the book and it gives you a trip already programmed into Google with annotated pins so that you don't always have to keep reinventing the wheel. One of the ones that I've used off of there has been Eliza Carbone's Blood on the River. And when I read Blood on the River with my 4th grade students, we did this actually as a project-based learning as well as project-based assessment, where we went through the book, we went through the pre-made Google Lit Trip, and then I took them to the computer lab with my ITRT, and together we had them create their own Google Lit Trips. And that's what they were graded on, was the finished Lit Trip. There's also an Edutopia article on what it is as well as why it's a good thing. And here's another real great article on what is a Google Lit Trip and what it is not. So I thought that giving the participants not only some how-tos, but as well as some literature to back up what they're doing would really help them with starting to incorporate this into their school and their curriculum. The way I learned about Google Lit Trips actually was I went to a workshop by the Virginia Geographic Alliance, and we did sort of like a Google Lit Trip, but it was a field trip based on a book. And one of the tools that was talked about at that workshop was this tool, and I just fell in love with it, and I hope you guys do as well.